and welcome to another episode of A Funny Taste. I am Kate Roaston, your host, and with me today I have comedian, actor, writer, director, and podcaster, Mr. Ellis Hoffmeister. Ellis, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Kate. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. So, elephant in the room, we do need to talk about how you are my second Hoffmeister.
True. You got the worst one today, but people like gravitate towards me, but Haley and I both know it's a lie.
Ah, I see. They gravitate and then repel.
Yeah, they think I'm the one they want, and I'm like, no, she's a better person. You want her more. She's the one you really want.
Well, I'm really excited to have the Hoffmeister that I don't want on today's show. This is going to be great.
That's how I intro myself with everything.
Today we are baking. We're doing the second Hoffmeister, second baking show. And we are making some gourmet artisan Pop-Tarts.
I used to be a dancer. I should have thrown that in. Just thrown that. I went to school for dance, so I dance around a kitchen pretty much all the time. I dance and I make songs, a dancer and a singer. So those were my original,
I might need to have you back on the show just as your own square, to just dance along.
Yeah, just be like
to an episode. Yeah.
I want to be that person on your show where I'm Vanna White, where I kind of become bigger than the actual show.
Let's get started with our Pop-Tart recipe. So it's a pretty simple, basic, pastry dough recipe. And then we're going to fill it with some jam and bake them up and frost them. And hopefully they turn out as good as we're hoping. And if not, we can both pretend because it's online. Nobody knows what they're going to taste. So we're starting out with flour.
Okay.
Recipe calls for 2 1/4 cup of flour.
2 1/4?
2 1/4.
2 1/4. Are you one of those bakers that measures out everything perfectly?
I try to, especially with smaller batch stuff. If it's a big enough batch, a tablespoon off here or there isn't really going to make that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But if you're just baking for your house.
I got my cooking skills from my mother, and I'm one of those people that basically, this is a 1/3 cup. I'm going to guess what a 1/4 is. Okay, so we got 2 1/4 cups flour.
Yes, and then a teaspoon each of salt and sugar.
Ooh, the best. I love me some salt.
Yes.
Oh, it's here. So, and this is just regular plain white sugar or powdered sugar?
Granulated white sugar. Yeah. So not powdered.
Are you a CNH person? Or are you an organic sugar person? That's a little too much salt.
I do tend to go for the organic. The only thing where I'm really particular with baking is I have to have organic powdered sugar.
Okay.
Once you try organic powdered sugar and then oh my God, we have the same.
Yeah. It's I know when I'm at my parents' house, which is where I am right now, I know Haley's been here if there's work, and her son has been here if there's organic things all over the house.
Okay, so the key to flaky pastry flour, which is what you want pastry flour to be. You want it to be that flaky kind of, not dough, like bread. I don't know.
Phyllo dough.
Yeah. So the key to that is to keep your dough cold.
Okay.
So that is why we have the frozen butter.
Ooh.
Normally with butter, you cream it. You want it to be all sort of a creamy consistency, and then you mix it in with sugar and stuff. But with pastry dough, you want little pieces of the butter throughout the dough.
Yeah.
So that's why you freeze it or make it cold in some way, and then you cut it up into small pieces and put it in the dough. And then the water that you add in is also got to be an ice cold water. You're really just trying to keep everything cold so the butter doesn't melt. Perfect. If the butter melts, it's just not going to be that flaky, crispy, Pop-Tarty kind of thing. So I froze butter and then used a cheese grater and grated it up into tiny little things. So that's what I'm about to put in here.
Okay, so mine is still too big, probably.
That is okay.
Who knows? So we add all the butter.
So yes, we are adding all of the butter. I have my cheese grated butter here.
That looks so beautiful.
Thank you. Just gonna toss this in.
And are you stirring this with a spoon or a whisk or?
I'm doing a spoon.
Okay.
Just because the goal here is for this to look crumbly by the time you're done mixing it together. You want it to look crumbly and dry, and then we add in the cold water. Pastry dough is very counterintuitive if you're someone who makes a lot of like cakes and cookies and stuff where you want a nice creamy batter, that it's the opposite. So
I'm also a big fan of just using my hands.
I mean, that,
You're like, okay, so we're how many minutes in and you've already
this is already like, I'm gonna have to R-rate this or something for YouTube and like.
Yeah, oh totally.
This video is definitely not for children.
Yes. Any of our cooking people, I apologize already for anything that's about to come out of my mouth.
Ellis is already wrist deep into
I'm literally using my hands and a sharp spatula to cut the butter further so that it's not like, so that it's doing its flaky thing and it's not
crumbly.
Yeah, it's crumbly because you're saying that crumbly is important.
Crumbly is in right now.
I am loving how crumbly this knife situation is making my dough.
Oh, good.
I was like, even though I'll like use my hand and then be like, nope, too much butter chunk.
Yeah.
Which we don't want.
See, the moral of this is that you got to find your technique. You got to find what technique works for you. So you just put the outcome.
Yeah, I think everyone has a different technique. And so at the end of this, you'll be like, that didn't add up at all. But
yeah. Well, at least now you'll have it recorded, so you'll be able to see where you went so horribly wrong.
Totally. I mean, honestly though, it looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna put that too. It looks kind of crumbly.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that
sure?
You're like, it's horrible. What are you doing?
So now I have water from the fridge. You want some ice cold water. And you're gonna do this a tablespoon at a time.
Okay, I will follow your direction on that.
This is I'm not trying to yell at you. I'm telling everyone. This is me instructing everyone on how to do it.
No, I don't think
Don't feel personally attacked if I'm like, make sure.
Yeah, just probably be like, and yell that before. Is this also cooking therapy with Ellis? Okay.
I was gonna ask what are some of your favorite things to cook or bake or
cooking. So I do this thing that I call we refer to it as Mexican dump soup, which is because it has more like seasonings that are more like Mexican food.
Okay.
And Mexican food is my favorite food. And it's basically like a soup where it's usually, if it's, vegan, then it's a it's a vegetable broth base, but otherwise I do a chicken broth base. And then I just add, so like garbanzo beans, onions, black beans, rice, chicken if people want meat, cumin, and then I add taco seasoning, salsa. Like I just throw in all these different things and it's delicious. And like we had it for dinner last night and I make it kind of all the time. And I think it kind of came out of living in my like apartment in New York and being like, okay, I have all these random ingredients.
Yeah.
What can I make? And like not having a ton of money and then just being like, let's make something out of this. Okay, wait, we're adding water, aren't we? I'm just talking and not even.
Yes, sorry. Tablespoon at a time.
Tablespoon. That's the other part of me. I'll just keep talking and like someone will just be like, could you not? Like, how does it ever stop? And how many tablespoons are we adding again? Eventually.
So it's kind of up to you.
Okay.
Recipes usually call for between 2 to 4 tablespoons, up to 5 tablespoons. I've done that before where I've come out with a completely dry crust for something. So I mean, you just want to add the cold water as you mix.
Okay.
And it'll start to form. Eventually, you're going to want this to be one like dough ball. So once you find that consistency for you and your truth.
I love it. This is so open. I cannot like stick my hand in dough. So I apologize to anyone who's eating this.
I like that that's your review of this. Like, I just can't stop sticking my hand. You should go on the blog of the recipe we're following and put that in.
Like, you should use a spoon like Kate does, but if you're Ellis, you'll just go all over the bed. I'm using a very.
Like Ellis doesn't have his own camera showing what he's doing. We can't show it on the internet.
That's the most R-rated part. Okay, I think I'm almost there. I think I need a tiny bit more water. So I think I'm at like 4.5.
Okay.
And
Ooh,
then
you did a half? Nice.
yeah, I did a half. By a half, we mean I guess. But I feel like it's crumbly, but it's kind of there. Yeah, because that's like, this is where I'm at.
There you go.
Like, it's like one big matzo ball.
There you go. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, this kind of looks like a matzo ball. You're like, please don't do that with your dad.
Of all the things you could be doing with that right now, this is maybe the least of my worries.
Okay, so then we're gonna put some flour out.
Yes.
Flour it. Big fan of the flour. Smells good.
They do. All right. So now you want to break this into 2. We're just going to work half of it at a time because otherwise it's going to be too much to roll out. So just cracking that in half.
It's like,
all right. I'm going to put that on there.
right.
I'm going to put the rest of my dough in the fridge so it stays cold.
Ooh, I'll do that too.
So one tip that I read was you can take a piece of like parchment paper
Okay.
and put it over it so that when you're rolling it, your rolling pin won't stick to the dough that you just made.
I was gonna say that one trick I have learned, because we have rolling pins somewhere in this house, but I swear every time we go to cook, the rolling pin becomes non-existent.
Uh-huh.
Don't know. So a thing you can use in the interim is a wine bottle.
There you go.
Heavy, and it works. Or I'm
You always have one.
hard. Yeah, we always have a hard metal water container. What I'm using today.
There you go. I just bought a fancy new rolling pin, so I'm showing mine off.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, right? I'm a big fan of that. I feel like I'm always finding new weird things too. And that's my general approach to baking and to life, is weird new ways to try things.
Stick your hands in there.
Stick my hands in there. The Ellis Hoffmeister way. But that's how I also think about like work and career and comedy. It's like you have to figure out what your shtick is.
So in order to get even Pop-Tarts, I wanted to use an index card as a guide so that we know it's about Pop-Tart size.
Okay.
And I'm just going to cut a couple of these out.
Okay.
And see if
my Pop-Tart's a little big, so
if they look like Pop-Tarts.
That's here.
Yeah. Another option that I've seen people do is trace like a spatula, you know, but like the index card thing, because I feel like it's more the exact shape. How are your, do you have any squares cut out?
I do. I am, second. I have 3.
Nice.
So, and I feel like my Pop-Tarts are going to be sort of big, but we're just going to go with it. We're just going to like roll with my big ass Pop-Tarts.
You can charge extra for those.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, because mine are definitely going to be the ones that we are selling.
And you can definitely talk about them being handmade because you stuck your hands in them for like most of the.
Yes, oh my gosh. Okay, where am I putting these squares?
So on a lined parchment lined tray.
Okay.
I combined like 2 recipes for this recipe. And on one of them, the person was very adamant about cutting these into squares and not rectangles. And there was never an explanation as to why it had to be squares and not rectangles, because Pop-Tarts are rectangles, and I just didn't.
And you're like, what's happening here?
I don't know. Maybe we'll put these in the oven and they'll just explode out the side or something, but I don't know.
Rectangular Pop-Tarts killed his whole family.
Right. What's the backstory on that?
I always want to know the backstory.
It's a prejudice, you know, like I don't.
Like something bad happened to your Pop-Tarts.
Maybe.
Okay, so I have a sheet like this. How many Pop-Tarts am I cooking on this, baby?
It depends on how big they are.
Are they going to grow a lot?
I don't think so, no. Pastry dough doesn't. If you think about like a pie,
okay,
it's the same kind of dough as a pie would be made out of. So it's not going to like balloon or anything, but you definitely don't want them touching. I'm leaving kind of, I don't know, I guess I'll do 4 per row. Like that.
Okay. I think I'm only going to make 6 because I think I have enough for that. That's what I'm feeling.
There you go.
That's how it's going to happen. Happens sometimes. Maybe this time. I'll just sing some cabaret at everyone.
Sure.
No.
Did you start out so what came first? Was there like musical theater led to dancing, led to comedy or acting? Like what was the chronological?
So I was a singer.
Okay.
And I grew up like doing choir and, you know, all different kinds of things. And I had a really good voice. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn, but when I was young, I had a really, really, really high voice and could like hit, they were like, the notes he can hit are like right below what like Whitney Houston hits. Like really like can go really far. But then I didn't sing through the vocal change, like through my voice change, and that was stupid. One of those. So I started out as a singer. I did a lot of musical theater. Then I did some, you know, plays, and there's somewhere exists a home parenting video of me that is hilarious. We lost the VHS long ago, but it was amazing. I love your face. It was wild, man.
What's a home parenting video? I'm confused.
It was I auditioned for I don't know, some type of off-road parenting, like a parenting video for dealing with like difficult children or something.
Oh, okay.
One of those things. So I did that and did a bunch of theater, and then I got into dance when I was about 16 because I watched Flashdance. And then I started taking dance classes and I became a ballet dancer. And so in high school, and then I auditioned for different schools for dance. And I went to college for in like a really intense dance program in Utah. And then I got out of school and I moved to LA, and I pretty much immediately quit dancing, which, and then I started doing, Haley had me audition for like the groundling school, and I did that for 2 years. And then Haley asked me if I wanted to. Haley's like my talent agent. She basically just tells me where to go.
Your show business Sherpa, just like taking you.
Yeah, I was like, I would not be doing any of this if it wasn't for her. And yeah, she got me into stand-up and we started performing in LA, and then I needed to go do something different. We'll put it that way. I needed to go like readdress my life. A friend of mine from college had an apartment in New York that she needed. She had acted in like a short film I directed. And she is also a comedian in New York. And she basically posted something on Facebook and was like, I need a roommate. So I moved to New York and I've lived there since, I think, 2015. It went singing to acting, musical theater, dance, improv comedy, stand-up comedy. And then I write and act and direct and all that kind of stuff. So, and podcast. We have a podcast.
Septuple threat.
Septuple threat, as you
I lost it, but
I think it's very accurate. I feel like we're on a journey.
we are.
Okay, what are we doing?
Okay, so you got your jam or compote or whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna do about a tablespoon into each.
Okay.
Directly in the center.
Okay.
I already spilled the drop.
Okay.
Definitely want to leave yourself a good amount of border.
Okay.
I want it all to be in the middle because, you know, then you don't get any flavor. But
yeah, I get it.
Do this. About like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some of these that are much prettier than the others.
Right? I feel like that's what happens with anything like this.
I always feel like such a pageant mom when I'm baking. Like, you're not pretty enough. You go in the back.
That's your pageant mom day. Yeah, I just imagine you with like a gigantic like hairdo.
I was just gonna say I need huge hair. I feel like that's like
It's
one
a
of
thing,
the essential
right?
requirements.
Oh yeah. So, what mine look like? I'm moving the camera.
Ooh, I like the variety.
Right, just a little.
One other thing I forgot about. So we're gonna put the tops on here. We're gonna push them down on the edges with the fork to make them sealed. And then one of the recipes said that you can brush the top with a little bit of melted butter and then put
Okay.
sprinkle some like granulated sugar over it.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'm melting a little bit of butter. We're
Okay.
gonna do this on top of here. We're gonna top this. Take this fork.
Oh my gosh, this really like looks like a Pop-Tart,
Right?
right? And you've never made these before.
I am concerned
What's concerning?
that this is not sticking. Like the fork technique looks great, but I'm not certain.
It's working.
It's going to.
My biggest question is like, how many of mine are gonna explode?
That's what I'm trying to avoid is, okay, so I'm gonna wet the edges first with a little bit of water. Then I'm going to place this top on. pinch the sides down so that they can seal properly. And then fork technique. I feel like at first I wasn't being aggressive enough with my fork.
Yeah. I feel you now. I'm more in the.
Yeah, I was just kind of like trying to make it look pretty, but now I'm really smushing the top one into the bottom one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Making that happen.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so delicious. I'm so excited.
Yay.
So those are mine. I feel like we are here.
Yay. But those look full. Nice. What were your filling flavors that you did?
What were my what?
Your filling flavors, your jams?
Oh, so I had a Trader Joe's fresh raspberries jam.
Nice.
Then I had I'm gonna call it a trashy compote, which is like frozen mixed berries with water that I microwaved, and then threw some flour and some powdered sugar and some lemon, and then mixed it up so it got a little thicker because I put too much water in and didn't take it out. Yes. Look at what we're gonna do here. How great is this?
One last step, well, a couple last steps. One last crucial step is to poke some holes in the top of these for the heat to escape so that they don't bust out the sides.
Okay. And you're doing that with a fork?
Yeah. Just gonna do like 3 dots or 3 rows of holes here.
Okay.
So that you can escape. They're going to be covered with frosting anyway, so I'm going to do the melted butter thing on top too.
I did that. Did you put sugar on it?
So I guess you put the melted butter and then sprinkle sugar
Okay.
on top of that. But again, we're putting frosting on these, so I don't know how necessary this stuff is. I will always find an excuse to put more sugar on things, so. Okay. Are you
I'm all ready.
ready to go in the oven?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
I'll Vanna White it like. So how long are these babies going in for?
The 2 recipes I looked at, one said between 20 and 25 minutes. The other said between 30 and 35 minutes. So we're going to check on them at 20. I feel like we'll be able to tell when they're done pretty easily just by looking at them.
Yeah. They'll be covering the entirety of the oven.
They'll either be exploded or they'll be nice and golden brown. We'll find out.
Okay. So what are we doing?
So now we are making frosting.
Okay.
I'm going to take our powdered sugar, our organic powdered sugar, because gotta be. Are you a sifter or a non-sifter?
Oh, I am not a sifter. If you can tell from me putting my hand and fist so far into something, but I support your sifting.
I am a sifter when it comes to frosting. So we're gonna do.
I'll learn to sift today. What am I doing?
You don't have to.
I'm sifting away.
2 tablespoons of jam. I'm doing strawberry jam as my frosting.
Okay. Then what do we do?
2 tablespoons of jam, 1 tablespoon of milk.
Okay.
And then the recipe calls for a teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm gonna do like a little bit less than that, just because the lemon juice is just supposed to like help cut down on some of the sweetness.
I love that basically everyone who's watching your show is gonna be like, if you want to measure and do everything right, go to Kate. And then if you are a willy-nilly cooker, Just watch what Ellis is doing because he's doing it real freewheeling. If you look,
I like showing both sides, you know. I know that there are all sorts of cookers. Everybody cooks differently, everybody bakes differently.
Yeah.
All levels are welcome.
We're supportive here. We're a supportive crew.
All right.
Well, because I feel like that's very much like the comedy family as well that we have, that we are a part of, that you guys started.
Yeah, all levels are welcome. We just may not laugh at everything you say. All right, and then it is 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. I'm gonna start with a cup and see how that looks before I go adding.
Where you go ham on that powder.
You know, frosting is kind of a texture thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm learning sift. So why do we sift? Explain to me.
It just makes it easier to work with. There's not like, I don't know if it's specifically organic powdered sugar, but it ends up kind of clumpy.
I have my clump friends right here.
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing I learned the hard way with chocolate frosting is you always want to sift your powdered sugar, because if you end up with clumpy chocolate frosting, it looks like chocolate with a bunch of white little pearls in it. Like it kind of looks moldy or something. It looks weird if everything's chocolatey except for these little white, like.
I do understand what you're talking about. That does make sense.
Certain point, you just got to push them through. Let's see what this looks like.
Feels like a ton of powder.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like way too. I feel like I'm gonna get like dough.
That's why I didn't want to start with the 4th. Like,
Yeah. It looks awesome, but also like, what is this?
All right, I am gonna go in with another 1/4 cup because this is pretty runny. Frosting is where I start guesstimating. Like, that's about 1/4 cup or something.
Like,
oh yeah.
Does that look right?
Yeah. Did you taste it?
Taste it, yeah, but I'm sure it's delicious. There's nothing better than powdered sugar. Big fan. Big fan. No.
I'm gonna check on the Pop.
Checking. Oh my gosh, look at this. Delicious. I only have one exploding, which is great.
Nice. This looks like it's exploding, but I think that's where I dropped jam when I first started putting them on there. So I don't think any of mine have fully exploded.
Good for you. Good for you. You stuck with the program. You measured everything out, and I just have exploding Pop-Tarts. But you know what? These look
sides that are not like fully
right.
Like, I bet when I bite into a few of these, they will explode out the other.
Oh gosh, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna need the cooling process to happen first. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of mine look like really nice. And others look kind of questionable, but like still fun. Yeah, I feel like I didn't close off 1 or 2 of these. Like the Pop-Tart, like I maybe should have come from below and pinched them a little bit.
Yeah. I have a couple like that, but
really, like, delicious.
they still look great.
No, they really only one like kind of exploded. I'm gonna move it there. Get a better look at mine. Like, pretty great.
Ooh.
This one.
Yeah.
This one right here got some explodies, but she's fine. She's okay with that. Okay.
I think just dollop the frosting on and then cover with sprinkles and got some Pop-Tarts.
Gourmet Pop-Tart. Feels so like adult. This is like adult Pop-Tart time.
Yes, your next fancy dinner party you can serve.
Gourmet pasta. And I feel like there's
A
just
really good like bougie brunch thing though, you know?
that's right. Just booze all over.
Like break these out at some fancy brunch. You would impress.
Right? These are great. And you know what? They're not that hard.
Right?
For our
Since
viewers at
better.
home, you should be making this. It's delicious.
What's stopping you
What's
from
that?
having delicious gourmet Pop-Tarts in your home? That's what I want to know.
Mine look a little less pretty than yours.
I'm definitely already sizing up which of mine are the ugly children.
I definitely say all of mine are the ugly children. I feel like I did a very good job today. I feel like I really, this is me. These are my Pop-Tarts.
Yay! Oh, they look gorgeous.
See, there's the bloody one on the left. That one had a hard time. My Pop-Tart abortion.
No, life is hard. Sometimes that reflects in pastry form.
Oh my gosh, this pastry right in front of me. I'm gonna eat the shit out of this as soon as we're ready. Got my cup of coffee ready.
You're like creating a whole moment for yourself here.
I'm having such a moment. I'm having a Pop-Tart moment.
Going through the sprinkles. Oh yeah, they don't like to stay on there, do they?
No, mine were like, bye.
We're free.
So excited to take a bite of you.
Do you need a moment alone with the Pop-Tart?
I think love this Pop-Tart.
Oh shit. I do believe that these.
Oh my gosh, look at those. Are these also the rainbow sprinkles from Whole Foods?
Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. So
Yeah, Kelly and I go shopping together, basically.
wait a second. This is what they look like.
Okay. Are you ready for this? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Are we gonna eat one now?
Pick one.
We get to eat one now?
Right on camera. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Cheers. Oh God. It's dripping.
Wait. Cheers.
Mmm.
Mm.
Yep.
That's real good. I feel like the dough is very buttery.
That very buttery. That crunch that I heard. Did you hear a crunch when you bit into it? It was like a nice soft, like through the crispy layers. So good.
I will say, your crust advice was great.
But one of the blogs, because I look up so many recipes when I do these, one of them said to, which I've heard this before, after you make pastry dough, to put it in the fridge for like an hour to an hour and a half for it to like really be cold. But I don't, if someone out there is watching this and can explain this in the comments, I don't understand that, because then you take it out of the fridge and then you roll it out on your counter. So you warm it back up. These are good just without doing any of that.
Yeah. I will say, the middle is where it's at. Because I feel like, I think if I was doing it again, I would create kind of like a little divot in the middle for spreading the jam out or the compote or whatever, so that it could get more to the sides and it could be a little more in it. I think I'd film even, I mean, don't get me wrong, viewers, this is fucking delicious.
Yeah.
These turned out really well. I gotta say. Like, has someone on your show made something and it just turned out terrible?
Hasn't really happened yet. At least if they have, they're all, I mostly work with actors, so maybe and I just don't know. But,
They're like, this is so good, and then they took it and they put it in the trash. No, okay.
we have come to the end of the episode.
Oh my gosh, we're here. What have we done? What
I have
happened?
one final question for you.
Yes, I love
which
it.
is, if you were creating your very own Pop-Tart, now that you know how easy it is, if you were creating a Pop-Tart of your comedy stylings, what would the filling be? What would the frosting be? Influences, styles, that kind of thing. Would it be raspberry on raspberry?
No, it would be a blackberry Pop-Tart with a lemon topping, with a lemon frosting. Because my comedy, I would say, is usually very like light and positive on the outset and kind of high voiced and all that stuff, but it has a tartness to it. And then once you get into it, it's way darker. And that's how to describe it. That's where we get to the blackberry. So I was thinking about this. I was like, that feels like my natural place. Like I'm like going on. You're like, oh, whoa. So that's my natural place. So I feel like that would be my.
Thank you so much for baking with me today, for trying a new recipe. And I want to know how people out there watching this can find you and find your comedy and your writing and directing and acting and love of butter and all of those things.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Kate, first and foremost. I'm Ellis Hoffmeister on Instagram. I realized I had to check it. I was like, oh no, what am I? I don't even know. And I have 2 Instagrams. I also have one that's just for my drawings and my art. So I'm also an artist. We'll just throw that in there. But my Instagram is, okay, there's a naked man. At Ellis Hoffmeister on Instagram. On Twitter, I think I'm Echo663 or 633. I don't know. If you look up Ellis Hoffmeister, it's a distinctive name. It's hard. We have a podcast my sister and I do called If You Like Movies. And you'll kind of get to see all the stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, it's Echo663 on Twitter. Thank you so much. Oh, and I'm part of 2 other podcasts, Pretty Little Monsters, which is where my friend Allie Keller and I discuss every episode of this TV show Pretty Little Liars, and Sick Folks of Cinema with all our friends from Liar Comedy.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your Pop-Tarts. I am very excited to eat all of these.
Where are you? Where do you hide? Where is that moonlight Pop-Tart that keeps in my insides?
I think we should leave you.
I think you're gonna need to leave
alone.
Private moment with my Pop-Tart.
Yeah, not for YouTube. This is not for you.
No, that's a different channel.
I had to start an OnlyFans with you and the Pop-Tarts.
Woo! We should do that. Sally would be happy.
All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Make good choices.
On the next episode of A Funny Taste.
Owen Garrett, you are my next guest on A Funny Taste.
So as a starving bachelor, I'm just so used to like buying like cheap things like a box of rice or a ramen, but I like to kind of do it up a little bit. So if I get like a ramen, I'll always like get a few extra ingredients like some mushrooms, cilantro, onion, ginger, and just toss it in there and just make like those 15-cent ramens taste like they're at least like $1.50 worthy. I usually go by like how many colors are on the package. So if there's like just like one color, like blue and yellow or green and yellow, I avoid it. But if it's like the package looks like it's on fire, like some red, yellow, and black, I'm all about it.
2 primary colors and then a couple other colors. That's some good shit. Let's go gather whatever we can and we'll meet back here and we'll make our own from scratch ramens. I'll see you then.
All right. See you then.